my God, all these lights make me look paler. It's like I get paler and paler every stream. How are y'all doing? It's me, AV. Hope y'all are all having a wonderful Friday. Sorry for the delay. It is 16 degrees in Boston, and getting this dog to go outside and walk in that has not been fun. All right. I give her the doggy boots. We put them on, and she like starts walking like a horse, and she don't like coats. It's a mess. It is a mess. I hope you guys are doing well. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to just start with some brief channel announcements because we have some really good stuff going on. I really don't like this light. Do I look pale, chat? Like I look paler. Like I blend in with my headband. I look like I'm in jail. This shirt. Every time I wear this shirt, I feel like I look like a prisoner. I'm the pale prisoner today. Y'all like melanin wear. Pale prisoner today. Okay, we need to fix that light. But I'm gonna thug it out. We'll get it done. Oh my God, I look so pale. Anywho, Don Lemon is in jail. We haven't even started. The stream's already off the rails. I hope y'all are doing well. We got a lot to talk about today. Two things. I did release a video this morning for my day ones that are watching. It kind of went off the rails too. Now, I am going to start doing something new on like Fridays. I will do like one like lifestyle video that is really just talking about YouTube, the YouTube journey, things like that, because I'm starting a women's content creation group. I'm super excited about it. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. I want to do a cis only group, and we just talk about content for 3 months. That's the group, right? And then we'll do a fun international trip at the end. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what the video is for. It's also a brand deal. Chat, tell me why. You see this? This is a teleprompter. I use it for videos sometimes. What it does is you put it on the camera, right? I took it off because, you know, I'm telling my story. It's like why I quit Boss to be a content creator. And I really wanted it to be authentic and come from me. So I took the teleprompter off. I don't want it to be scripted. And I'll be honest, I don't like that thing. Because what it does is here you load this is almost like a tablet. You load your script here and it shines on this. And it looks like I'm looking into the camera. And the words kind of scroll up on top. So I took it off because the purpose of that video was supposed to be very relatable. I did not want to sound like you were talking to ChatGPT or Google Gemini. I just, you know, I wanted to talk to you because it's kind of vulnerable too. You know, like I took some big risks, leaving work, starting a business, doing this stuff on my own, like quitting what my path was supposed to be, you know. It was a very vulnerable video for me. This is how people are so into drama. It says, I quit as the thumbnail, right? And I took this off. And when I take that off, that means I have to do the video off the top of my head. I made a lot of mistakes. Poor editor, this girl, whew, I sent her the raw footage. It was like 32 minutes long, and she had to chop it down to 17, 18 minutes. So I forgot a lot of things as I was saying it off the top of my head. Now we included, you know, different parts of my journey, different people that have mentored me, things like that. I forgot to say Lead's name. I swear to God, people are like, do you and Lead have a falling out? I was like, what? What are you talking about? But because I like Daryl Eves this is Mr. Beast's coach. He is actually the powerhouse behind Vid Summit. That's why I went to Vid Summit to speak as a speaker, because I know Daryl. Daryl had, you know, he was like the first person you see. I didn't say Daryl's name. There was Nick Pro, who I took a picture with. He has 20 million subscribers. I didn't say his name. I said Legal Eagle's name, but I didn't say anybody else's name in pictures. And I didn't reference any other content creators. People were like, what about Lead? I was like, yo, what? Whoa, relax. Ain't no drama, chill. They were like, have you had a falling out? I was like, no. I just took my teleprompter off. And the video's about how I left my job to be a YouTuber. What are y'all talking about? So I was dealing with all that this morning. That's your first channel announcement. But to clarify, ain't no drama. I'm just trying to not be a robot on the internet and speak to y'all and have fun. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I got a call, and this is now live in the chat because we are going to talk about all things Donald Trump, all things election, ballots. We're going to watch some videos. I put some legal documents. This is going to get so interesting because the purpose of this video is a follow-up to the news of the FBI raid in Fulton County. Okay. I got a call. So everybody in chat right now, you see a goal in chat. It is, I think it's like something like 20 super chats or whatever for me to bring on a special guest. It is a her. She's been here before. She texted me last night and I was like, this is the perfect week for you to come on. If you know who I'm talking about, then you know who I'm talking about. We're going to be here for a few hours, guys. So kick back, relax. You make that goal, I'll announce who it is, but she is really thrilled to come on and talk about the Georgia election interference case. So really, really excited about that. So that's your first thing. So that goal is up in the chat right now and you can participate. I will be polling you guys ethically as we go because we're talking about ballots. Imagine if you vote in my poll right now and your ballot is not counted. And I think that's why people are so up in arms about this, but we're going to talk about all of that stuff. More to come on my women's group, so I'll keep you guys posted. And all the ways that you can support the channel are down below scrolling. Don Lemon got arrested today. Shout out to Anthony Brian Logan. I love ABL's breakdown of that. He actually went into the First Amendment issues that come along with it. And see, y'all already know. Y'all already know who it is. Listen, make the goal. Make the goal. She has been here before. So it'll be really fun. Don Lemon was arrested for going to the church and having these discussions with people in person. But the service is like the church service is active. You're in their church and you're asking questions about ICE and things of the like. I didn't do a deep dive into that, but if you guys want it, please let me know. As a journalist, he has a right to ask questions, but are you trespassing? Are you supposed to be here during an active service? Pastors were out everywhere all week and they were like, hey, you know what? Don't come to my church and do that, Don. Don't you come here, Don. So, protesters were arrested. One woman who is an attorney was arrested, and she's kind of active in that space as far as, social interruption, things like that, like ethical protests, stuff like that. I think she's a pastor too. I forget her name. So she was arrested, ultimately released, and their documents have come out. I was thinking about reviewing it, but then the whole icy weekend happened. Shout out to this light. Speaking of icy looks, oh my God, I look like Daenerys Targaryen. So interesting things there happening. Don Lemon was not arrested with the original group, and there was some litigation that was happening to see if he would be. A judge had blocked it, but miraculously last night, Thursday night, last night, he was arrested for his actions interrupting that church. People were outraged. I mean, it's a place of God. It is a house of worship. This is where you go. Like my grandparents are super Catholic. I think now this wave of my generation, we're more Christian, but super Catholic. The place where you go and bring your rosary beads. The places where it's like Catholicism is fine. This is no shade, but like I used to be scared when I was little of the priests because they would wear the long robes and you're in this big hall and it's like hallelujah. It was scary. I thought they were ghosts when I was little. I was like, what's going on? Why is that man wearing that? It's so crazy. All right, let me get off my storytelling mode and let's get into the content of the day. Last announcement, Fox News hit me up on the Alicia Andrews thing, so I'm going to do another spot with them, but I think we're going to do it on Monday. So anybody that saw my announcement on that earlier, it did get pushed out to Monday. Okay, let us now talk about Fulton County. Okay, here's where we are. FBI raided Fulton County on Wednesday. Why? Because of the Georgia election interference case that got closed, but more importantly, ballots. Okay. I was streaming with you guys. We were talking about Alicia Andrews because her appeal was approved. The judge was taken off of the case. And in addition to the judge being taken off of the case, sentencing is now on the table. So we were talking about that. Get off the stream. And the first headline I see is Fulton County's election office raided. Raided. And I kid you not, I clicked on the video. Helicopters are flying in. There's trucks. They had big, long trucks, like rentals for those 700 boxes of ballots on pallets. Okay. So they were put on pallets and it caught Fulton County by surprise. And that's the legal documents that I'm going to show you today. I'm going to show you how we ended up there, right? By looking at some recent filings with one Miss Shay Alexandra. Now, Shay, if you watch my video from yesterday, Shay is the woman that was on, at the press conference. It was Marvin Arrington, it was Shay Alexander, and there was the main speaker. I forget her name right now. She's a commissioner, and she was wearing the black and gold. Miss Shay Alexander, you guys might recall her name because we had often showed you guys multiple documents from the YSL trial and the YSL case. There's always that there's like that blue part at the top. It's like a heading, and you will always see her name there because she is a clerk for the county, right? Everything goes through her office. Everything is filed through her office, and she is the keeper of records, okay? So the Department of Justice was looking for, the ballots, right? But they have to go through the right way and the right protocol to get that. So that is why we have the FBI involved right now, because they were going through the court process, and Ms. Shay, and it's just part of her job. She keeps the records, right, for the county as far as things that are filed and things of the like. So in order for the government to come into a state to review ballots, whatever the case may be, do their own, review of them, they have to take the proper protocol to do it. Because, you talk about supremacy, right? States have their own powers and the federal government has their powers, okay? So you have to make sure that you go through the right protocol. Now, all of that was in the works of review, was sealed, so people couldn't see it, right? It was some of the court documents. That's why I had to go back in, pull them so we can take a look. However, it is interesting because this has been in the works for a while. Now, they were going through Georgia to get these documents done and the long drawn out court process. Now, the FBI was able to go to a federal judge. So now we're not in the state, we're going to a federal judge to review a search warrant, and the judge needs to sign it if there's enough probable cause for these items to be seized, okay? So they have to outline in their search warrant what the probable cause is and what they want to be seized. So not only did they want the ballots, they wanted the tapes, they wanted a few other things. And, I did a short yesterday going over the warrant and all the items that they wanted for review. Where is this coming from? I learned from many of you in yesterday's video, the comment section, that there has been an effort to really look at the 2020 election and what happened, mainly because in December, there was a Georgia congressional hearing. And at that hearing, it was discovered that 300,000 ballots were not signed at all. So if you have unsigned ballots, you have that issue. There's also a plumbing issue that was happening during election day and all types of things. There's some surveillance footage of boxes being moved and things of the like. And what was so unique about 2020? Well, it was in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people did not want to come outside and physically go and vote. So you have these mail-in ballots. When you go in and physically vote, one of the first things you have to do is show your ID. right? You have to show your identification. You go through the registration process. First of all, you have to be a registered voter in that state. They verify everything. They find where you are, put you in a booth. You select your vote. And then once your vote is complete, you feed it into a machine. All right. That's in-person voting. Mail-in voting is very different. So I'm explaining this. I know you guys know it, but we do have some international viewers as well that frequently watch the podcast. So that's why I'm explaining how the process works. So I don't mean to talk to you like a fifth grader, but you gotta cover your bases. So you feed it into the machine. Now with mail-in around the COVID times, and I will tell you that you will receive a ballot in the mail. You fill it out and you mail it back. There's no identification. There's no way to know who you are. You can be dead and still get the mail. Maybe there's no death certificate yet. Maybe there's no way, right? So mail-in ballots were actually very unique to the 2020 election because it was the anomaly in the 2020 election. Does it mean that in the United States, people don't do mail-in ballots or absentee ballots at all? No, because sometimes things happen like military people get deployed. You cannot physically come here. You can't come back. You can't leave your base if you're in Afghanistan or Iraq, or if you're stationed somewhere abroad. You can't take a flight and come back because you're on active duty. You can't come back just to vote, right? So you're in that scenario. It's an example of mailing it in, and when mail-in ballots have been acceptable or absentee ballots have been acceptable. But in the COVID times, everybody was at home. And so you did have an influx of mail-in ballots. That's where this controversy is coming from, was the accuracy of counting those ballots, the accuracy of how they were processed, and how they were batched, so to speak. Because everybody focused with the Georgia election interference case on the phone call, right? Trump calling Brad and him saying, hey, where are these votes? There's 11,000 votes. What's going on with the votes? There's a lot of focus on that. And, you know, it kind of took away from the fact that there was an alleged discrepancy. If somebody votes, that vote should be counted properly, right? But if there are people that are, you know, kind of using the system in a bad way, we want to know about that too. So in my quest to go and find you guys information, I did find this channel where these two gentlemen kind of went around Fulton County and they looked at some registered voters or ballots, and they took a look at addresses. Some of you guys might have seen this video already, but it's very fascinating to me. So we're going to take a look at the first one, where some of these guys are going around Fulton County and they're going to these addresses and talking about it. But let us come over here. Let me just make sure we have the top. All right, so you have these guys. They are going to these locations where people are either registered to vote or you have their votes there. So let's take a look at where they're going and what they found during their investigation.
70 people are still registered to vote. If we were to trust the voter rolls, that means that 96 people are supposed to be sleeping in there, using the bathroom, showering, cooking.
As our main residents, first of all, right across, if we can pan the cam over, that is a Capitol right there. This is how close this place is. Right behind me, this beautiful building, it's actually the Peachtree Pine homeless shelter that was closed almost 10 years ago in 2017. But there's still some weird stuff happening here.
The weird thing that's happening here is that, again, according to Georgia registration rolls, people are still registered to vote from this exact same location. Over 70 people are actively still registered to vote, according to the most recent Georgia registration rolls that we received, which was just updated less than 2 weeks ago. The fact that this place was shut down more than 10 years ago and they still haven't cleaned the people up off the rolls is crazy to me.
What are they doing? Like, I mean, literally, what are they doing? This place, no one is living in it. Everything's boarded up. It says private property. There's gates. There's a fence over the gates. The window's broken. We took a peep inside from this vantage point, and there was no one in there. I mean, I would love to even maybe we can walk around and see where would someone actually even drop off ballots here.
That's a good question. Why don't we actually go do that?
Yeah.
Let's walk around and see what's going on. So this is 477 Peace Street Northeast.
Okay. That's
And according to the voter rolls, there are 70 people actively registered to vote here. That means that at some point during any election season, somebody from USPS is supposed to come by and drop off some kind of voter information. So we're going to go find out where they do this. So we're going to try the first entrance, but it says danger.
Do not enter.
What?
Definitely can't get into there. I don't think you would want to anyway.
Now, Fabian, how funny is this right here? Amber Higgins Connor, Amber for Atlanta City Council citywide. The first thing that I would be focusing on is why in the heck is this still a problem?
Number one, she doesn't even know what this place is. She doesn't care.
No.
Because it's not, it doesn't get her votes. And second, is she does know it's here and they're doing it to get her votes.
Well, we have another entrance, so I don't think we're going to get in here. No, it's closed. Now, Fabian, the thing is that I don't doubt that once upon a time.
So that is interesting. So they're looking at 70 people that are registered to vote at this location, right? Used to be a homeless shelter. It's shut down. They're registered to vote there. Now, my question would have been, because I know that it's more of an investigative video. When did they get the data? Were they registered to vote in 2020? When did this homeless shelter shut down? That would have been good to know. But they're showing you just some anomalies that they found in their investigation. This is very Nick Shirley style, and shout out to Nick Shirley. He is a content creator that kind of shined a light on what was happening in Minnesota with the daycares, like the daycare centers. Like he's popping up, like, hey, I want to register my kid. He had the little mic, the DJI mic. He had the little mic. He's just like, hey, I want to register my kid. Where are the kids? Where are the children? Why are the children not here? So this is very Nick Shirley style, but I do think that this type of video style is important for people to do. So let's take a deeper look.
This was actually a legit shelter where homeless people were being registered to vote from for whatever reason, for health benefits. We don't care. But the problem is that obviously this place has closed. It's been closed since 2017. That means that no longer people are laying their head inside of there and claiming this place as the place of residence. That means that they should be automatically purged from the voter rolls, but they're not.
You know what's interesting is if you have
What? This is my first time watching this raw with you guys. So this is raw reactions, but thank you so much for the clarification. This place was shut down in 2017. So it's impossible for the 2020 election. Ooh, okay, let's go back in. This is getting good.
100 sites like this, or who knows how many, but let's just say 100, and they each have around 100 people voting there that don't live there. That there's no building. You do that all over the place, and you can disperse the burden of proof and say, well, we don't have enough people to go to all 1,000 locations.
Exactly.
Compared to if it was in one or two. They can claim, we don't have the manpower, the resources, we need more money to go and send people all over these places, but it's really this easy.
Yeah.
Here's an address, it's not open, you take the voters off. That's it.
That's simple. And what's interesting to me is that perhaps they're doing this on purpose to win big federal elections, because Georgia in 2020, President Trump lost it only by 11,000 votes. So if there's 100 of these just in one county,
exactly,
with about 100 voters or so,
it'd be extremely easy to do.
Exactly. Let's keep going and seeing what's up. I mean, maybe eventually we'll find a door or 70-something people who are sleeping here.
Maybe 70 people walk out of here.
Well, good thing to know that this is private property and no trespassing. So maybe this is where...
Yeah, you can't even pull that.
You can't even pull that.
It's completely covered. I shouldn't have touched that. I don't know what that is. I think that's the end of it, though.
That's the end of it, yeah.
Wow, okay, so they might be going to their next stop, I think. This homeless shelter is completely shut down. No people there.
Should we go see what's up with neighbors, maybe? This is the neighbors.
Oh, it's definitely nothing in here.
Why is the door open?
Supposed to... Well, Apparently, this is where so many people are still registered to vote as of today. And I think that's what really pisses off most people is that
It just doesn't make sense.
it just doesn't make sense.
It just doesn't make logical sense unless you do it on purpose.
And Democrats' biggest narrative always is that you guys are trying to suppress people's votes, take away homeless people's votes. We're literally at a place where people are actively registered. And I don't see even homeless people squatting in
There's
here.
no one here. There's literally no one here.
There is a still sign right there that says open studio.
So what we've done is we've now walked across the entire building, and this is the last part of the building. And as you can see, it's completely boarded off. So for anyone saying, well, they might still be doing something there, in addition to the broken windows, the danger, no trespassing, now we have this. So this is the entire building we've walked around now.
Wow.
And the thing that I keep thinking about while we went through the entire building is there's no way that Fulton County can hold legitimate elections. And if I was a Republican candidate, that's what I would be focusing on nonstop right now. Is if I'm running anywhere where there's a county like this that touches Atlanta, I would say, I'd be focusing on what the heck is going on. I don't know if people are actually voting, but they are on the voter registration list. And are they committing other fraud? Is some entity in here collecting these ballots, collecting welfare fraud? I don't know, but it's so simple, right? That's what pisses us off. It's just simple to come here and do what we did, take an hour or two out of the day and see these in just one place, 70 irregularities.
Yeah. And that's not including the churches. That's not including the people.
That is interesting. Just kind of listening to them, I'll chime in with personal experience is, I moved from Massachusetts to Georgia. And I remember, I was thinking that they were going to ask me to register to vote and transfer all of that when I transferred states. And I'm thinking that it's going to be done at the registry, because up here in Massachusetts, once you apply for another state driver's license or you transfer your driver's license to the other state, you could typically do it there. Sometimes you do it when you're doing your taxes. It's tax season. Some of y'all are like, let me file my return, get my tax return. You can register to vote, I believe, during income tax season, or they ask you for a donation for the next election. That's probably what it is. But there is a process to register to vote, right? I remember going to a Target in Buckhead, and there were people outside with clipboards, and they're like, oh, do you want to register to vote? And I was like, who are you? And why do you want my personal information? It seemed legitimate. I looked it up. And, they were out there getting people to register to vote. But at the same time, where are people, it's a clipboard. How do you know the legitimacy or the accuracy on what information they're filling out on that clipboard? So I did think that was interessante. Thank you so much for the super chats. I am going to read them during the next break, so we're going to keep watching this. Thank you so much, Jess. And for those that are just popping in, please remember to hit the like button. We are hoping to get a guest on the channel who's very familiar with the election interference case in Georgia. So we have a super chat goal. If you guys help us reach that goal, she has agreed to come on. And I know it's going to be a fantastic interview. Let's go back in and see what else our brothers here can find.
Who are registered to vote at places that are even open. This place has been closed for almost 10 years. That's almost 10 years. That's a decade. And no one's cleaned them.
What if I told you the guy that's in charge of elections in Georgia, the Secretary of State, says that we have the cleanest voter rolls in all of the U.S.?
Oh, Mr. Secretary of State, what's up with this?
And what if I told you that he's now trying to run for governor as well, governor of Georgia? So, hey, Secretary of State Raffensperger, why don't you just come down here to 477 Peachtree Street, Northwest, see a homeless shelter that closed 10 years ago now?
Yeah.
And
you can tell the voters, how is it possible that you claim that you have the cleanest voter rolls and we're literally standing in front of a place that doesn't make any sense?
Maybe walking around Fulton County and seeing places like this, I have to tell you that back during the 2020 election, I didn't really believe in any of the conspiracy theories or, there's voter fraud, systemic voter fraud. But coming out here and seeing this for myself, whether it's abandoned homes, empty lots, places like this, I have to say that this is a problem. And I'm starting to believe the 2020 narrative regarding what President Trump was saying, especially about Fulton County, because he lost the state only by 11,000 or so votes. And if we just walked around Fulton County and already found about 10,000 irregularities just in one county.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how much this is happening in other places, not just here,
Mhm.
right? California, Minneapolis, like any blue state, I assume they've replicated this exact same model in all of those places.
And we see that map always, that Kamala Harris won every state where there's no voter ID. Georgia thankfully has voter ID. So I think that there is a check on stuff like this. But what about in states like California, where obviously there isn't a check on this? Imagine how dirty the voter rolls are there.
Oh my gosh. 44 million people live in that state. Imagine how dirty those voter rolls are.
Jeez. Wow. This is epic. Well, we're at a UPS store located at 2625 Piedmont Road Northeast in Atlanta, Fulton County, where apparently 96 people are right now actively registered to vote. And the reason we're laughing is because this is such a clear violation of law.
I know where that's at. I went to that UPS store a few times. There's a wings shop right there, some teriyaki. I've been there. That store is so busy. So now people are registered to vote at the UPS store, and it's probably because they have like those mailboxes, those virtual boxes. I have a virtual mailbox that I use for business. That's at like Staples. Ooh, this is getting good. Real quick, guys, I also just realized I don't think that our challenge went correctly because I scheduled it this morning. So I'm going to do it again. I will already give you credit for 8 super chats. So I'll just set the goal at like 12. But we are very close to our goal, and I cannot wait until we get our guest on the channel. But let's go back in. I recognize that UPS store.
Georgia, it's very specific. You cannot use a UPS store, a PO box, a virtual mailbox, whatever you want to call it, as a place of residence. The law is clear. Where you vote from, where you say you vote from, is the place, or where you live is the place that you actually rest and sleep at. So clear violation of law. What do you think, Fabian?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's sleeping in there. And if there's you said there's 70 something?
There is, according to the latest registration rolls that the Georgia Secretary of State office provided us, there's 96 people registered to vote from here.
That's interesting. And I bet they all vote Democrat.
I bet.
Here is a similarity between the healthcare fraud in Minnesota and the voter fraud here in Georgia. We were just laughing about it.
Yeah, it's funny because if we were to trust the voter rolls, that means that 96 people are supposed to be sleeping in there, using the bathroom, showering, cooking.
As their main residents.
As their main residents, the same way how there's supposed to be a certain amount of kids at a daycare when they go and visit these daycares in Minnesota owned by Somalis. It's the exact same thing. And a key thing that people don't understand is that all of the welfare fraud starts with voter fraud. If you end up on a voter registration list, you can suddenly start to claim benefits because, oh my God, now you have a residential address.
Yep, exactly. So now they know where to send the checks to.
And we have a feeling that that's exactly what is systematically happening at the churches.
Yeah.
The churches are using advocacy groups to sign up homeless people, maybe not to vote, but to definitely collect benefits. Now, are the homeless people there to collect the benefits?
That's what we don't know.
We don't know.
The checks are going there. So what's going on with the checks? So there's just a massive amount of mail that's uncollected that just sits there with checks in it, or someone helping the homeless people by opening them.
And here's the other caveat. These advocacy groups that go and sign up the people, the homeless people, to get the benefits from the church and stuff, they get money from the federal government
to do that.
It's from the state government, from the federal government. It's interesting. Let's go see what else we have here. We're outside 201 Washington Street Southwest. Back to the...
Oh, okay. So now we're at another location in Fulton County, and they've got 2 more videos that we're going to look at, guys, because it is interesting. So we were just at the UPS store where people were registered to vote at that UPS store. So what they're doing is they're looking at odd addresses where there are anomalies, where people clearly do not live in those places, but they're registered to vote and they're using those addresses. But can you prove that those people are those people? I don't think you could use it. Thank you, Cheyenne. Like, can you even use a PO box? So that's crazy that they're finding this. So now we went to a homeless shelter. We went to a UPS store. Now we're going to a church.
Church where I discovered thousands of people are registered from the same exact place. And Fabian, we started to search this place and look into it a little bit more. What did we uncover here?
So first of all, right across, if you can pan the cam over, that is a Capitol right there. This is how close this place is. This is the Central Outreach and Advocacy Center. This is basically a homeless shelter, and it was really interesting. We saw that they have two lines here. One is for services, and one is a mail line. So if you're looking to get your mail, I guess you have thousands of people come here, like a UPS store at the church, and get the mail.
So what we kind of also discovered is that this exact same outreach program takes money from the state government, right? Through grants. It also has private donations, of course. But what we're starting to put together here is that this seems to be like a massive operation to register as many people as possible that kind of lean a certain political affiliation.
Yeah, you would think.
You would think, right?
Yeah, so they actually took in almost $700,000. I looked at the taxes. Now, you can't see the individual donations where the money is coming from, but they did get a grant from the government for $25,000 just a few years ago for homeless activities. And then they just paid a company $50,000 to write grant proposals to the government. So they're paying a company 50 grand to go write grants to get them, they hope, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to do more of what they're already doing.
And what we're starting to also realize here is that we now know that if there's a surplus from the election budget for the county actually maintains that surplus to disperse it to various other places, like the advocacy group here, who may have received it from that funding, the $25,000 and the $50,000. So if we put everything together, the county is purposely maintaining the voter list unchecked and not cleaning them up so they have as many people as possible on the voter list, kind of bloating up the voter list, right?
Yeah, and then I would be curious, and we're going to do this later on, get the board of directors for this place and find out who they contributed money to politically, because I guarantee you it's going to be like the other places we saw, 100% of the political donations are going to Democrats.
Between the two churches here, over 1,000 people are registered to vote. The crazy part for me is, right, we talked about the advocacy group, kind of seeing homeless people, bringing them in, getting them registered and whatnot. The reason I say that they target them is because this is where all of them usually are. We're in the colder part of the year now, so I think they're in a little different location. They kind of settle where the sun hits them pretty hard during the day, which is right there on the corner. We have various shelters all around here. The idea that I'm trying to draw to everybody and to you is that this is a heavy homeless area. And to have churches, having advocacy groups inside the churches going out and registering them.
That is interesting compared to our last stop. So we were just at the UPS store, and one of you guys in chat brought an interesting topic up. It is likely that if you have a box at the UPS store that you're paying for it. Like you're very much paying for it. So I don't know, like, you know, if a homeless person does have like some employment or money or whatever the case may be, it's likely a paid mailbox. Whereas at this church, if a person is homeless, then I'm not sure if it's likely they don't have paid mailboxes. But I am curious about how the mail system works in the church.
Literally out here in the streets using taxpayers' money is a scheme, in my opinion.
People, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm not gonna say all homeless people, but we know homeless people can be mentally unwell. So you're registering mentally unwell people from the church to get a ballot to the church. Yep. And what are they gonna do with that church? Are the homeless people gonna actually go and vote?
Yeah, I don't really think homeless people are having discussions on who to vote for city council in Georgia. Pretty sure that's not something that typically comes up in conversation.
And let's say they are not voting. Okay, you're still registering people from here who are socioeconomically in a disadvantage. And we know we have a bunch of programs that you can get federal or state funding from.
A lot of them.
So potentially we are also witnessing welfare fraud happening right here.
Oh, I'm sure you can find a lot of interesting things here, that's for sure. These are all voters right here.
These are all voters. Usually the only difference is that, again, during the warmer time of the year, there's hundreds of them here. I'm not even kidding.
I've seen them here before when we've been. Yeah.
During the protest.
It's covered.
And all around us, again, are shelters. So homeless people are coming here because of a shelter. Suddenly somebody from the church comes out and says, hey, Are you registered? Not even registered
Or
to
hey,
vote,
hey,
right?
do you want some government assistance?
You want some government assistance?
Don't worry, no address, we can put you here. By the way, hey, we're gonna register you to vote, right?
There you go.
Right?
There
You want everything else? Sure.
Oh, I think I see what they're saying. So I think what they're saying, remember how I was telling you about the people outside of Target with the clipboards that were like, register to vote, those things? Now it seems like because this is in a heavy homeless community, not community, but an area where there are shelters so people congregate. We have a lot of those in many of our cities in the United States. Like you just have pockets of a neighborhood or an area where there is a shelter and people will congregate around there. And you will have people pop out with clipboards like, hey, do you need any government assistance? Like, how could we help you get off the streets, maybe get some food, some SNAP benefits, things like that. I wonder if when they are having those discussions with people to get them back on their feet, that it almost comes like a bundle, like Verizon, who went out on an outage and had all of us stranded without a phone for like hours 2 weeks ago. They sell you a bundle at Verizon. They're like, hey, you want your phone service? Sure. You want your internet files? You want that too? Do you want your HBO Max? Do you want your Netflix? Do you want your other things? Do you want your YouTube Premium? Not sponsored. All of those things in a bundle. Then when you get your bill, you're like, all of a sudden it's $300-400 for one phone. Ow. The bundle. So I wonder if they sold these homeless people a bundle of services at once. Let's get you SNAP benefits. Let's get you some housing help. Let's get you some working help, right? Like let's get you to programs where you could start looking for employment, things of the like. And I wonder at the very bottom of that clipboard if it included voter registration. Let's register you to vote. Let's get your life together on one sheet on this clipboard. I wonder what that looks like, the bundling. So I'd be curious. I'm actually going to leave these guys a comment because they did some great work here. I wonder what is on those clipboards and what is presented to people. Because if it's a blank sheet, that'd be interesting to know. We saw some ballots that were blank. So they do have some other videos. And then, guys, we are going to pivot over to checking out some of the legal documents that got us here. But I thought this was super fascinating. I think this video is about to wrap up right now, but they have a part 2 that I want to check out as well. Or this is part 2, but there's a part 1 that I want to see.
I sure do.
So think about how easy this is. I work in the government. I have a friend, and there's an organization right across the street that's hiring. I get them a job. They pay $100,000 for that position. Now they can thank me for that job. And all I ask in return is, hey, they're my friend. Why don't they contribute to me getting reelected? And on top of that, as a cherry, I'll make sure that they get some grants. They get a few of their employees inside and say, oh, hey, let's all donate to Fabian because he's giving us these massive grants. And that's how you stay in power. That's how you make money. That's how you get kickbacks.
Now, the irony about all of this is that what you just explained to me is pure corruption.
And that's how they end it.
In the years,
that is how they end it. It's pure corruption. It's corrupted beyond redemption. Because, I'm really thinking about that. And I kind of worked it out with you guys. I wonder if it is a full life bundle on a clipboard, which is not a bad thing. If people are homeless, you want to give them the resources for them to get in a better position, right? Or if they need like medical help, things like that. That's why we have these programs. That's what they're designed for. But it is interesting that is how people were registered to vote in that area. Okay, so I've got 2 other videos for you guys. So this looks like they're both labeled part 2. I'm a stickler for labels, but it looks like both of these videos are labeled as part 2. Let's pick it up from here where they continue.
People are still registered to vote. If we were
Is this
to
the
trust
same
the
one?
voter rolls,
No, this is the same one. Sorry. This is part 2. So they actually spoke to a few people in person. Let's see what they have here.
Okay, Jason, so what are we going to do today?
today, I think we're going to drive around a little bit of Fulton County and look at some addresses on the voter rolls that really just don't make any sense. We're going to look at a couple UPS stores, but there are bad addresses across Fulton County, well, really across the state, but Fulton is by far the worst. And there are people registered at UPS stores, self-storage locations, overpasses. I mean, you name it, there are people registered there.
We're outside 1441 Woodmont Lane, another one of these suspicious places where a ton of people are registered to vote from. And this is the actual physical place of 1441 and also 1445, two different places where people are able to register to vote. But obviously, this doesn't seem like 139 people live in a tiny place like this. So what's going on?
Oh my God. Okay, so this is public information. Some of you guys were asking if it is legal for them to show this online. It is public information. These videos have been up. I'm sure YouTube would have struck them immediately if that was the case. Because it's public record, they can pull it. Just like me, whenever I show you guys legal documents, it's because they're a matter of public record, so we can pull them. As long as you're not sharing somebody's address, phone number, things of the like, that's like super personal information that falls into a different data category. So these guys are okay. But think about that little house we just looked at. That little house with almost a cage door on it. That little house has 139 people registered to vote in that house. You know what this makes me realize? I feel like when you're out with the clipboard giving you the life bundle, that maybe they're like, oh, you don't have an address? Just write one for you. I'm just going to write this address for this little house, the little gray house, 139 of you. Because how else would that happen? This is crazy. This is crazy. The little house. Let's go back a little bit. I want to watch it again. That little gray house has 139 people. There's not 139 people that live in that house. That house can't hold 139 people. That house can't hold 10 people. That house is so small, probably can only hold 5. Where are 139 people living in this tiny house?
Overpasses, I mean, you name it, there are people registered there.
We're outside 1441 Woodmont Lane, another one of these suspicious places.
It says physicaladdress.com. What? It says physicaladdress.com. The plot thickens. Did you see that? Did you see that sign? Oh, the sign said physical address. What is that?
We're outside 1441.
Look at it. Look at it. It says physicaladdress.com. Now we need to go to physicaladdress.com. This is wild work. Oh, here we go. Physicaladdress.com. Virtual address, virtual mailbox service. For the low fee of $7.98 a month. They have a video. Let's see what their video says.
Whether you're a home-based business or frequent traveler, you felt the headache of managing postal mail. You also understand the downside of using your home address as your business address. Wish you could see your mail even when you're on the other side of the globe? With physicaladdress.com, you can.
Oh!
Just sign up, choose an address from our growing list of locations, and you can instantly view and manage your postal mail with a private mailing address anywhere, anytime, to use for your business or personal needs. When mail is sent to your private address with physicaladdress.com, we scan it and notify you. Request a high-quality content scan, forward it, schedule a pickup, store it.
You'll get a text that says your ballot has arrived. Are you ready? Are you ready for your mail-in vote? Physicaladdress.com.
Or shred it. Your choice. Place address on business cards, websites, flyers, LLC, or corporation docs. Keep your home address private. Because we manage and operate all physicaladdress.com locations, we don't use third-party addresses, and third parties don't process your mail. So your information remains secure. Plus, we've never lost an address, so you don't have to worry about losing your mailing address when a mail center closes. All of our locations are whole addresses, and our world-class customer service staff's always there to help. Sign up, pick a location, and see your mail and or business address in a whole new way. Physicaladdress.com.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe. There it is, chat. Physicaladdress.com. Okay, it cut the sound, so I'm going to stop screen sharing for a second and screen share again. When I toggle between windows, that happens sometimes, but physicaladdress.com. So ballots were sent here. And physicaladdress.com and services like this are very fickle. And even PO boxes. If people work for the post office, I'm going to be honest, my mom works for the post office. I have a post office mom. Don't make fun of me. I have a post office mom. Okay. But we talk about mail a lot. We do. And she has talked to me about PO boxes and how they get abandoned all the time because people don't pay their bill. They have to rekey things and do all of that. Where in a situation like this, these businesses, that model is a little bit different because when you have a physicaladdress.com, you might just have a cubby, like just cubbies where mail comes for you and you have a cubby number and they put it in. Because think about rehoming your box, or like rekeying that box over and over and over every time somebody doesn't pay that bill and they have to change the key. So that's why for UPS, they really should probably look at their model a little bit differently. But physicaladdress.com is a great alternative to that because the United States Postal Service will sell you a box based off of size. You want a large box? Do you want a medium box? Do you want a small box, right? Letter size. If you get a package, we'll put something in there for you so you can come and retrieve your package. Now, same thing with physicaladdress.com. It's a little house. Like I said, who lives in that little house, little gray house? But apparently people had registered to vote there. And it's not just one address, chat. Look at what we see on the screen. It's two. We see 1441 Woodmont Lane. We see 1445 Woodmont Lane. Two. So this is so interesting. I'm so happy you guys told me about this video. Like I didn't even know that it existed. Is it a duplex? Is it a two-family? What is happening? All right, let's see what the brothers find as they are approaching this home and seeing what they find out about it.
41 Woodmont Lane, another one of these suspicious places where a ton of people are registered to vote from. And this is the actual physical place of 1441 and also 1445, two different places where people are able to register to vote. But obviously, this doesn't seem like 139 people live in a tiny place like this. So what's going on here?
Yeah. So this is a virtual mailbox. It's similar to say the UPS store or one of the other post office boxes. But a lot of these type of places, people will use for legitimate purposes. For example, if I travel a lot, I want to get my mail delivered here. Maybe they open my mail. Different ones have different features, but they might open my mail and scan it for me. So that way I get my mail remotely.
Okay.
However, the law is clear. You need to register to vote where you live. You can have this as your mailing address. You just can't say you live here. 138 people don't live here.
So it's not essentially illegal for people to do this, but it's illegal if you're registered to vote and to say that this is the place where you live at in order to be able to vote, for example, in a Fulton County election. Am I getting this correctly?
That's correct. Maybe they live in a different town. Maybe they live in a different county. They can't say they live here. Otherwise, they're voting for the wrong folks.
And do we know if people that are registered in places like this across Fulton County have actually voted, submitted an election ballot?
Yeah, it's easy to see how many people have voted and who votes from every location. There's they call it the voter history file. So if you know who is registered to vote, you can easily see who has voted at those locations.
And just like in a previous place, if we were to challenge this, essentially we would have our name on there. So people who feel like as if we're trying to suppress their votes can retaliate.
Absolutely. They send the letter out. It clearly shows Jason Frazier is challenging your right to vote, or whomever is doing that, with my name and my personal address. And I've gotten random letters in the mail with no name on it addressed to me, which is a little shady to not say who it is. But and people have made different videos clearly thinking that I am suppressing the right to vote. All I'm trying to do is get people to follow the law, get the county, who should be never registering people here, to do the job properly. In my opinion, there should be a check.
Yeah, like where's the audit? Does anybody check? Does anybody check? Like that's what I had to do. Cause honestly, guys, I came back from Georgia to Massachusetts for some family stuff, right? And some other things I needed to take care of and finish up law school. But even with that, if I were to vote, right? My last vote was in 2024, and that vote was in Fulton County, right? It was fine. At least my experience was fine. I wasn't there for 2020, so I can't speak to that, but it was fine. But now that I've moved residences, that really is the responsibility of the person that's moving. We all handled moves, especially interstate moves. And if you go from a state to a state, it is your responsibility to change your address properly, to let all of your bill payers know that you've moved, to do address forwarding, things of the like. But even with voting, because what happens is if you move to another state, you are still going to be registered to vote in that home state. So for example, one of the things that I had to do is switching between Massachusetts and Georgia. It was annoying, but I had to change my place of residence and change the status of the vote. I mean, sometimes it's not going to go in a favor for a blue state or a red state, depending on what that vote is, but it doesn't matter. It's still the responsibility of the person to do it. But shouldn't it be the responsibility of the counties that are in the states, actually, that are running these elections to do checks to make sure that these addresses are correct? So we'll use me as an example. If they were to run something right now, I still have a Georgia driver's license, but the place of residence should be cross-referenced with the United States Postal Service, where mail forwarding happens. And you could clearly see I do not reside at that last place. I am now here at this place, right? That's an easy thing to do. And you would think that the states would take care of this before going to an election, right? Or look at what we're finding right now. This little gray house. Why wasn't anybody cross-referencing to check and find those people that are registered to this little gray house and review it? You clearly do not live in this little gray house. So interesting stuff, but let's keep going.
County that says, oh, clearly 138 people don't live here. Maybe that's a problem. Or this is a commercial address, not a residential address. So there should be a check, just like there's a check if you get a bank account or anything else.
And you submitted a complaint to the county about places like this, correctly?
Yes.
And their response?
Well, the previous chairs have been very vocal that this creates a lot of work. This is, can I just not do this because it's so much work for the elections department? I'm sorry, the elections department, they have a massive budget. It is the law. They need to do their job. Everybody's had a job. Maybe they don't like every aspect of their job. It is their job to do this.
So we were looking at this together. It says business hours there. That's illegal already, right? For people to be registered to vote, and obviously what is a business,
Right.
And which it was about 130 something people that are registered to vote here.
Right. I mean, some people do have home businesses,
Mm-hmm.
but clearly
That's not
138 people don't live in that back bedroom. If they have home business,
Which it was about 130 certificates hours there.
What does this say? To carriers, please do not leave items. Please do not leave items in the mailbox. Business hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Please drop items inside with the agents during business hours only. So physicaladdress.com, you can't even get your packages on weekends because there needs to be, if they're collecting mail on your behalf, they have to scan it for you or whatever the case may be. But this is interesting to see how all of it works.
That's illegal already, right? For people to be registered to vote, and obviously what is a business,
right.
And which it was about 130 something people that are registered to vote here.
Right. I mean, some people do have home businesses,
Mm-hmm.
but clearly 138 people don't live in that back bedroom. If there is one in this house,
Yeah.
that clearly makes this an unlawful.
But you can even see it says this is a commercial address. We are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Jason, it's blatant. Anybody can see it, literally in big letters. This is a commercial address. Mail belongs to our client.
So it's on the outside of the business. It says right there. Commercial address. And where in Atlanta is this? If it says door is locked, please knock. Smiley face. We can see the door's locked. Mail belongs to our clients. Please do not leave anything unattended. You only come in during these hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Carriers, you only come in here 9 to 6. This is clearly a business address. Oh my goodness, what a shame. We need the shame bell. We need to go to the shame bell. But people are registered to vote here. And some of you guys are talking about the overpass. We're getting into that in this video too. And like I said, I lived in Fulton County. There are actual like tents and things under overpasses. You'd be on the highway stuck in traffic. I'd be, going to 17th Street where I worked at the time. I'd, be in traffic, look over there. This is fucking tent under, sorry to swear. There's a tent under the overpass. But how is the overpass? How is this little plot of land that someone has claimed for themselves? How is this overpass an address? The door is behind a cage. Let's go back in. This is crazy work.
And again, clients should not be able to vote and say that they live here and then be able to vote from this place. That is the problem here.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this is shocking. I have to say this.
Not a whole lot of people have the ability to continue doing this kind of work whenever they go after you and target you and say you're suppressing votes. I don't know how I'm suppressing votes by pointing out that 138 people don't live in that virtual mailbox.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or that, if I'm the mayor and council running in that area, I've got potentially 138 people that live outside of the jurisdiction voting for my opponent.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That is a problem. And you mentioned kind of intimidating you or trying to I guess, make you not do what you're doing. What are some of these instances of that happening? Besides, I guess, people, I guess somebody challenging your back and stuff like that.
Well, I used to have, before I got started in this, we had a little vegetable stand at our house.
Oh.
Just, we loved to garden, so we had a little vegetable stand and sold some tomatoes and things to the locals.
And shout out to all the new people. I do have some class clowns in the chat. UFO is one of them. He said alpha male strategy. Shout out to AMS. That was a good one.
And so since I had a Facebook site, people went on there and started targeting me, calling me a Nazi and other things. So obviously I took that down. And but then there's other things like Georgia Tech, for example. In the 2024 November election, they had a team of folks that were targeting misinformation. They actually had my picture in my Twitter account, my X account on there, as somebody that they had in their training manual.
Oh, wow.
So even though I'm only posting facts, I am a risk to disinformation.
So now we're outside one of the buildings that used to be torn down, and we'll put up a picture of what it used to look like on Google Maps just a year ago. And there's the entire neighborhood is just being remodeled. There's a couple homes that aren't being remodeled and they're completely torn down. But you can obviously see that now people live here.
Proctor.
But that wasn't the case when.
Why does it have, Jess, why does it have to be Proctor Street? If you watch me with the Karen Reed trial, looking at Proctor is very triggering. But what is this?
And a couple of years ago when people were registered to vote from this location and there was absolutely nothing here. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, so I turned these in whenever they were abandoned houses. They were all boarded up, like some of the houses down the street, boards all the way over the windows. Clearly nobody was living there at the time. And if you look at these registrations, odds are it's the same person registered to vote there that was registered 3 years ago when it was boarded up.
You think if we kind of went and knocked on some of these people's homes that, tell them, hey, people are still registered to vote from here from before you remodeled it, what do you think the reaction would be?
I think they would be very surprised. I mean, I have people reaching out to me all the time and they get a precinct card from somebody. They don't know who they are. Sometimes it might be from 3 prior homeowners. Sometimes it's somebody they've never heard of. But when Fulton County doesn't clean up their voter lists, if you move out of state, you move out of county, maybe you live in Florida now, if you never clean up the voter rolls, you're going to have a lot of extra people. So you might look up your own address and there's 5 extra people there that you don't know.
Did you submit a complaint to the county about specific locations like these abandoned homes where people are registered to vote from?
Yes.
Okay. And the response usually from the county has been the same as previous things?
Yes. I'm creating a lot of work for them. They're frustrated. They do not want me doing this.
So real quickly, you can see that 924 right across the street is being remodeled because this was also abandoned the last time that I looked it up on Google Maps. Again, that's the similar pattern that we see across this street here is all of this was abandoned. You can see it on Google Maps, but now they're finally starting to remodel it. Yep. And that means that, again, people used to be or still are registered to vote that don't live here anymore. And now new people are going to move in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a mess. I did not know how bad it was. And I'm almost like sad that I didn't know how bad this was because this is crazy. So what's happening in this area is in the process of being rehabilitated. And, sometimes municipalities and cities and neighborhoods can go on a rehabilitation, kind of like a quest if there is a street that they want to clean up, things like that. If houses are abandoned, then maybe you have people in the remodeling business in the flipper area, and they want to purchase properties and flip them and remodel them and ultimately sell those properties again. It looks like this entire street is in the process of being rehabbed. Fine. But what's happening with the voters is people were still registered to those abandoned houses. Multiple people were registered to one dwelling. And those dwellings at the time of the election were abandoned. So whose vote was that? And why were they using those addresses? I didn't understand how bad this is, but wow, you guys have been putting me on to game with what has been happening. Wow. And the gentleman he's talking to in the gray, in the polo, he's the one that's been kind of exposing this, and people are getting upset with him on the internet and doxing him on the internet, putting him in job manuals because he's saying something about it. But what if nobody said anything? Imagine you just buy a new home. They're like, here's your keys, ma'am or sir. This couple, lovely family, welcome to your new home. By the way, there's 6 people registered to vote here. And they don't live here. As a new homeowner, what the hell? Like, it's not your fault. You can't correct that. You can correct your address. But it is the people that are voting that are still registered at these older addresses. I don't know. I really do think that the county should do better auditing. I don't care if you don't have the funding for it. Ask for more funding. You need the staff to do it. Get the fund. Get GPT to do it at this point. GPT will get it done for you in 10 minutes. 5.2 thinking. They'll do it. Just give me the data to cross-reference. Let's make sure it's accurate months before an election. Let's just check. Let's just have you, if it's clean, it's clean. But what they said in the video that I did yesterday when we were watching Fulton County officials say, we run the cleanest elections ever. Do you? Do you? Do you?
I'm sure that they'll want to register to vote and they'll learn, hey, I'm not the only one that's registered to vote from this location. There's maybe 10 others, 5 others, 6 others. And that's essentially the problem here is that the Fulton County doesn't clean their voter rolls. Is that right?
When people move out of state, Fulton County will not take them off. Even we've had people turn in challenges whenever somebody sells their house here, buys a house in Florida, registers to vote in Florida. They're even voting in Florida and Fulton still won't take them off. They're afraid maybe they'll move back. So we'll leave them on.
Well, maybe they'll move back to a torn down home or something.
Maybe.
Like that.
You just never know.
This is what the other home was supposed to look like, 929. Obviously, they're remodeling it, but we'll put on, again, the Google Maps picture that everybody can see what it actually looked like just a year ago or so.
Yeah.
We don't know if somebody's registered to vote from here, but we came here to show people that just a couple houses down from 929 is 955, and that was the condition of the home
were people who were registered to vote from. The very first thing.
Okay, before he continues, I really do want to shout you guys out that are Atlanta locals. There are a lot of Atlanta locals in my audience because we cover the YSL case, things like that. So, a lot of our stories are Fulton County based. But shout out to Mrs. Berry, who says those used to be off-campus boarding homes. Okay. All right. See, now we're getting some information. Now we're getting some information. Oh, it's former students. And off-campus boarding homes. And if it is a college campus where students used to live, a lot of them come from other states or they come from other towns. And what the hell? This might have to be the content all week. I'm sorry. I want to know about all of it now. This is like a novella. Off-campus boardings. Thank you so much, Mrs. Can y'all type Mrs. Berry in the chat, please? She just put us on the game. She really did. Thank you, Mrs. Berry. Jeez. Let's go back in.
I did when I got home after this trip was look up 955 Proctor Street Southwest on my voter list that I literally got January 3rd from the Secretary of State's office. And what do you know? I highlighted and then, of course, I marked out the name there of the person that is registered to vote at the place that you're looking at. Let's go back to the video. It's common sense for elected officials to see a place like this and say, okay, people aren't obviously living here. Yes. No reason for people to register to vote from them. Right. You complain to city officials about this. They tried, not they specifically, but the system tries to intimidate you, try to push you away from doing this. Right. And then we spoke a little bit about what is the incentive behind this? Maybe it's to make sure that there's more people in a precinct so the county gets even more money to run their elections. Sure. What is your solution to this? Because this is just ridiculous that anybody can see this and say, why are people registered to vote from a place that's obviously torn down, says no trespassing, 24-hour video surveillance?
I mean, it's not that complicated. Most people have moved around in their lives. Whenever you move, for example, the magazine folks, the junk mail folks, they know where you live. I don't care how many times you move. There are systems in place to find people. And maybe 10 years ago, this was a beautiful house and somebody did live here. Well, they have moved. They have died.
That is actually funny. The magazine people, like at least in a month, let's be honest. We're going to do a social poll. I know I'm not the first occupant of my apartment, as an example. I used to own a house, right? And then, I kind of, between Georgia and here, I'm in an apartment now. Now, many people have lived in this apartment before me. Sometimes I get, mail for a Stephen Good or a Chris King or a Janice, pay my taxes, whatever, right? I get names from other people. I get people's Christmas cards. Your grandma doesn't know you moved yet. That's rude. Tell your grandma you moved. She's going to send you the $1 and the Christmas card. But hold on. I think I have one. Tell your grandma you moved because she still sends me your Christmas cards. This is from my grandma. But grandmas still send me their Christmas cards. People still send me other people's Christmas cards. Like, those family pictures where people just, hey, look at me and my 2 kids. This is me and my husband and me and my wife, or me or my wife. I still get other people's mail. So he has a point where he's like, okay, the magazine people could still find you. The Boston Globe finds me. Atlanta, I don't live in Atlanta anymore. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution still finds me. Magazine people, newspapers. Wow. But tell your grandmother if you move, guys. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Social poll. If you have received someone else's mail in the last month, put a 1 in the chat. If you have not received somebody else's mail, put a 2 in the chat. Shout out to Brian. Yes, use incognito. I actually did a deal with him last year. Put a 1 in the chat if you've received somebody's mail. Put a 2 if in the last month it's been clean, no mail. Wow, look at all those ones. Look at all the ones. So it's often that you're receiving somebody else's mail that was a prior occupant to where you live, right? So this system, in a way, is interesting. Jess said they still find me with bills. I don't think I've seen a single 2 yet. I don't think I've seen a single 2 at all. Put a 3 if you opened it. No, I throw them out. I throw them out. Well, Nurse Janice, you're in the UK. You guys probably have cleaner mail than us. Interesting. All right, let's go back in because this is fascinating to me.
They're somewhere else. Find where they live, register them there, because we want everybody to vote. We want them to vote legally where they actually live. So if you care about the voters, in my opinion, you need to find the voters when they move, re-register them there, and don't leave them lingering here where they clearly do not live today.
I think that's a key thing is that we're not really trying to expose this so people aren't able to vote. We want everyone that's legally able to vote to actually be able to vote. But when things like this are happening, it's a broken system. A lot of people are registered to vote from homes like this that nobody has lived in a while. So we're just going around and seeing them for ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
I really
If you
appreciate
had any
you cleaning it
questions,
up.
let us know.
I actually do have one question. The last house over there, 929.
Yeah.
Have you seen anybody there before?
Yeah.
Like people actually live there?
Yeah.
Well, now,
Full
after it's
remodeled?
been remodeled, right? What about before it was remodeled? It was a torn down place. According to Georgia voter registration rolls, in the previous election cycle, 12 people were registered to vote from 850 Oak Street Northwest. Ask yourself, does this place look like anybody who lives here? Nonetheless,
Wow.
12 people who are eligible to vote. If we didn't know that this was
But see, here's the thing. So 8 people are registered at the house that he's in front of right now. But see, what I'm thinking is this is why they have to clean the list. One of you guys, shout out to Cheyenne, had said it to me. She's like, AV, you might actually still be. She has a good point. Even though I moved, I wonder if they haven't even taken me off of their list. So that's the question. Are you cleansing your voter list for accuracy? Because people do move in their lives, right? I'm going to read the super chats in a minute, guys. I'm just so fascinated by watching this because it's really showing you what is happening. And you have to think about, are our elections ever fair? I mean, are they? 2020, we had all these mail-in ballots. But when people are registered in one place, are they registered in the proper place is the question. And thank you to everybody that is leaving a super chat. If you get us to the goal of 10, I counted 9 earlier. You get us to the goal of 10 super chats, I'm going to invite an attorney that was closely involved with the Georgia election interference case. She just texted me last night. I think some of y'all know who she is. But we get us to the goal. I will get her on next week to talk about this further. And it will be definitely, oh my God, I'm telling you, a fascinating conversation. But this is crazy fraud. But let's keep going.
an abandoned place, we would never be able to tell that this is actually 850 Oak Street Northwest, because as you guys can see, there's no even mailbox here, nonetheless, with a number on it. The only way that I knew that this was 850 Oak Street is by seeing it on Google Maps. And again, 12 people here in the state of Georgia, a battleground state, were registered to vote from a place like this. According to multiple affidavits from the previous election, there's over 1,000 homes like this just in Fulton County, home to Atlanta, Georgia. Now imagine if this is just one of 1,000 places where quote unquote 12 people were registered to vote, how many more places are there?
So Jason, you were telling me that a big reason of why the county seems to not want to do the cleaning up of the voter rolls is that every certain amount of people that you take off the voter rolls, the county actually loses money. Just explain that a little bit better for me.
Yeah. So the way it's situated now is whenever you go to vote, when you go into the precinct in Georgia specifically, we have this screen that you select who you're going to vote for, just a touch screen.
Mm-hmm.
We call it a ballot marking device, BMD for short.
It's the same like when I go vote, I click on a person. That's
Yes.
what we're talking about.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, just a little touch screen. So those are sized that for every 250 registrations on the voter rolls, not warm bodies, but every 250 registrations, you have one more BMD.
Okay.
And precincts have a certain number of BMDs. So if you have a lot more registrations, you have more equipment, you have more precincts, it increases the budget for the county and the state.
Sure, and it makes sense. The more people, the more precincts you need in order to let people vote in. And
Absolutely,
stuff. Yep.
absolutely. You don't want to have long lines. But the problem is whenever you have like Fulton County that has 113% registration rate, clearly you have too many registrants. I'd mentioned before that whenever I first got started, I turned in something like 10,000 extra registrations. These were people that were registered more than once. So if I turn in 10,000 people that have 2 to 5-ish registrations, those all come off. I just reduced the voter roll in Fulton County by 10,000 approximately. So
now you're taking money away from Fulton County.
I'm taking money away. I'm taking away ballot marking devices. Net, that's going to shut down precincts. It's going to reduce the budget.
Now we're at 205 Elm Street Northwest, Helena, Georgia, still in Fulton Couny. And as you can see, there's absolutely nothing behind me. Yet people are registered to vote here. Jason, tell us again.
Now we have a piece of land. Chat. Oh, I can't. Cam, I can't. There are people registered to vote on a piece of land. What in the hell? And these videos, chat, I'm so happy. Whoever put this in my comment section yesterday, thank you. A piece of land. You could see the skyline behind him. How do you register to vote on a lot? I cannot believe this. This is it. Hey, did you register to vote? Yeah, I registered on my lot. Like a lot. It's just an assigned piece of land that nobody owns. Ain't no house on it, no dwelling, no business. This is terrible. Patty said it's a cemetery. What is it? These videos are new. These videos, this investigative journalism style type of thing. This gentleman that's kind of like our host here, he put this out 2 weeks ago before the FBI raid happened. And, you know, I will say that, wow, shout out to Michael Love and everybody leaving super chats. Kamala, I got your cash up. I'm gonna read it in a second, but we have met our goal, guys. And now I can let you know, before we get back to this video, the person coming on is Ashley Merchant. Thank you so much for everybody that left super chats, and we have met our goal. Ashley Merchant is an amazing attorney. She's been on this channel before. She texted me last night. I had invited her on probably like a month ago, and she's been so busy. She's been podcasting on the Megyn Kelly network. She has a new podcast herself. So I am so excited to announce that we will bring Ashley Merchant on the channel next week because of the support, the generosity of all of you guys. Of course, you know, these super chat goals are like a fun way for us to encourage more people to come on, more voices to come on. But I'm really, really excited. And for all the people that donated for that purpose, thank you so much. It really means a lot. I do think no matter what side you are on, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, an independent, whatever the case may be, our vote is really important. You know, I do feel uncomfortable sometimes when I go in and I put my ballot in because they're like, let me look at it. I don't want you to see who I voted for. Let me just put it in. But, you know, for accuracy purposes, that's why this is very important, especially in Fulton County. You know, I've told you guys my gripes with Fulton County, like living in Fulton County where, you know, somebody broke into my house, stole my stuff. And, you know, I went to the police to report it and they did nothing. But apparently there's the best conviction rate ever in Fulton County to collect criminal or to, you know, get criminals. Come on, that's not true. It's not true. I can personally tell you that. as one of your favorite YouTubers. I can personally tell you that. You know, up here, and Boston has its problems. You know, Massachusetts has its problems. We just watched Karen Reed. They try to frame this lady like it has its problems too. But this type of stuff is important for awareness. And if I can use my platform and my legal knowledge to put y'all on to what's really going on, it's important. I mean, you're seeing it. People like this guy and the other one, Nick Shirley, that was like, where are the kids? Where are the kids? Where are taxpayer dollars going? Where are the kids? I want to put my kid in this school. And they're like, no English. I don't know what's going on. What is the government doing with our money? And you know, like, these are important things for us to look at. So many of us have jobs. We all have to pay taxes, whether you're a business owner or you're doing it on your own, or whether you have a job. All of those taxes come out. They need to be paid. Uncle Sam is like, hey, it's time. At the end of every pay period or at the end of every quarter, if you're a business owner, or a year, or whatever the case may be, hey, it's time. These are our collective tax dollars. So when you get taxed, and this is for all my folks that are across the pond or in other places, you get taxed based off of the state that you live in and from the federal government. So oversight and reviewing this stuff is so important. This is our money. This is our money. You literally have a person registered to vote on a lot. A lot. Ain't no house there, no buildings there. They're standing in front of it. Those people at Elm Street are there. They're in front of Elm Street. Ain't nothing there on Elm Street. And shout out to Michael Love right now, who's making it rain in the chat. I appreciate you, Michael. He sent out 20 AV memberships. If you received a membership, we have manners here. Please say thank you. Crimson got one. Sam got one. Jumentu got one. That Naga got one. Donna, good to see you. Donna got one. Brian got one. QKC got one. Chris, I'm not going to read all of them because it's 20. It's so generous. Thank you so much, Michael. And of course, Camel, I believe, is our stream sponsor. I'm liking all of these as we came in, but we have to, I mean, this is our money. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, this is crazy. And then for people to stand and say, oh, there's nothing wrong, nothing to see here. What is this? I can't believe it. Okay, let's go back on in, then we'll take a super chat break. I think there's one more video after this one. I'll bring you guys the legal documents, but I just want people to be aware of what's going on. Let's go back in.
And what is going on at this location?
Well, this is a very nice house. You see, very nice front yard. It's very open concept.
Estimated value about $1 million.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the same lines.
And check this out. I know it's so hard for me to not interrupt. Look at the bottom of the screen on the left. With all the locations that we've been to on this video and the last video, they are up to 2594. So almost 2,600 issues with addresses and people registered to those addresses. Wow. Thank you. Kamala is absolutely your stream sponsor right now. Cam is also making it rain with the 10. This is so crazy. I mean, I can't believe it, chat. Let's go.
I mean, Fulton County, they don't check the voter rolls. They don't clean the voter rolls. Maybe there was a house here when somebody registered, or maybe there hasn't been a house here in a long time. It looks like
there hasn't been, right? There's no like dump site, construction site, something like that. No, even you can't even tell that a house ever was here. If I was just to come across here, I think it's just an empty lot, field, which it is. Yeah. But yet people are registered to vote here. Now, same question again. You've obviously submitted a complaint to the state about this. Yeah. Anybody from the state can come out and see that obviously no one lives here. You can't even make the excuse that Democrats like to make that maybe a homeless person lives here, squats here. So yes, we'll give them the rights. But obviously nothing here. This is the clearest sign of blatant fraud, I would say. And the reason why I say fraud, I know that's a strong statement, is because when it's so obvious, it can't be just an accidental thing, somebody turning a blind eye to it. obviously people are benefiting from the fact that people are registered to vote from 205 Elm Street Northwest.
Right. And there's really no excuse. You don't even have to come here. The county has tax records. They know there is no house here. So if you just compare the voter rolls to the tax records of the houses, you know what, there's nothing here. So it would be very easy to just compare two data sets and clean it up.
I know some elected officials are lazy, but when we were doing the research about this place, verifying the place, on Google Maps, you can even see that this is an empty lot. You at home can literally type in the address and see for yourself on Google Maps that this is what this place has looked like for a while. And how many places like this there are around Fulton County where it's an empty lot and people are registered to vote from?
I mean, there are thousands of addresses very similar to this. Sometimes it's a typo, like in Roswell, near where I live, there's somebody that lives at, I think it's 424. On the voter roll, it's 242. Mm-hmm. There's no house at 242. That might go to an empty lot. It's hard to say. But if there's not a check, if they do not check, which Fulton County is not doing, they're hurting the voter. They're hurting the taxpayer. This person here, they might exist somewhere, but they clearly don't live here. They might have even moved to somewhere else in Georgia.
Casper, that's the Casper Lot. I'm dubbing these land areas where people are registered to vote Casper Lots. Okay. Casper is a friendly ghost. Okay, he evaporates, disappears. He's transparent like me in this damn light right now. Casper Lots. I can't believe people are registered to vote at land lots. Casper's AI. This is so crazy.
Georgia, and they're registered there, but they leave them here. So it's get them registered just one time and get them at the right location. That's what's important.
Makes sense. So even if it's a typo, the appropriate response is obviously to have some sort of check to it, whether it's an institution or it's citizens like yourself providing that check. But again, every time that you raise a flag, you submit a complaint about an empty lot and a person registered to vote from them, the county does everything to ensure that, one, they don't do anything about it, but two, to kind of intimidate you to stop citizens from reporting this stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, who wants to be slandered? Who wants to have their name and address put on a piece of paper, sent to a voter, and look like the bad guy? I mean, if I needed a new job, you can just Google my name and you're going to find that I am, all of the bad things that you could ever imagine, just because I'm trying to say there's nobody living here.
Yeah.
Find the guy if they exist and only register them one time, but where they actually live.
This right here is just ridiculous. It's an empty lot. It doesn't require anything more than just to see it on Google Maps that it's an empty lot. And you're saying that this costs taxpayers money as well here in Fulton County. I think that's the most ridiculous part about it. And the other most ridiculous thing, obviously, is when you bring that up to them.
I'm the bad guy.
And you're the bad guy.
So Jason, we're leaving Elm Street now, which I think is probably the most ridiculous location that I've seen so far. Just an empty lot, right? You said that you actually testified under oath at Senate committee hearings. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so sometimes as they're passing a bill, the legislators want some more background information, just because they've got to know everything from, how many stray dogs there are on the street to somebody not receiving their mail. They've got to know a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been doing this for quite a while now. So myself and a handful of other folks I would call experts on this. And I can bring, the actual receipts, like these addresses that don't exist, and why it's important to clean the voter rolls.
Yeah.
And I've read some of the legislation, like one of the statutes says that the counties need to maintain the voter rolls from time to time. Literally, it says from time to time. If I'm running a business, I don't want to, check my inventory from time to time. I want to know, do I have product on the shelf? I want to do it right. But
they said they clean them up from time to time. I can't pay my taxes from time to time. So y'all clean up the... This is the best video on YouTube. I can't pay my taxes from time to time. I left and y'all were like, hey, AV, I don't give a shit. You're in Boston. Give me my money. Give me my Fulton County, Georgia money. When I went to Georgia, Massachusetts was like, Taxachusetts was like, hi, our taxes are very high and we're bougie up here. So we're going to need you in all these YouTube earnings to give us our money, please. Like all of that. from time to time. That's a shirt. That is our next piece of merch. You know, we check it from time to time. Let's bring that. I can't believe that's what they said
on this. And I can bring, you know, the actual receipts, like these addresses that don't exist, and why it's important to clean the voter rolls.
Yeah.
And I've read some of the legislation, like one of the statutes says that the counties need to maintain the voter rolls from time to time. Literally, it says from time to time. If I'm running a business, I don't want to, you know, check my inventory from time to time. I want to know, do I have product on the shelf? I want to do it right. But so that's a gap in the legal system.
So the statute doesn't clarify what is time to time.
It's
just
from time to time.
And then again, what was her name? Bridget?
Bridget Thorne is the good commissioner that asked the question.
She
is fantastic.
Who's the one that was very happy about the fact that
Very proud of herself.
Very proud of herself, the fact that they haven't cleaned the rolls at all.
That was Patrice Perkins Hooker. She was the chair of the Fulton County Board of Elections at the time.
Got it. Got to make sure that people aren't registered to vote under a highway bridge or in general, just an underpass.
Sure.
Which is where we're going to now, right?
It could be a little windy under there, but apparently somebody's registered to vote there.
And we believe that his last name is Lee.
Yes.
Which makes it funnier because the street is Lee.
Mr. Lee lives on the Lee Street overpass.
Very interesting.
According to the voter rolls.
I wonder if we will see a home there.
I guess we'll find out.
Usually private residences are pretty quiet. It's really loud, really windy here.
Noisy, a little noisy.
And this is
the chat. We're at the damn overpass at this point. I can't. Are we at we're at an overpass. I told you people camp out. Look at the buckets. There are buckets back there. What? Wow.
504
Lee Street Southwest.
Correct. Somebody is registered to vote from here. It happens to be that his last name is Lee as well. So Mr. Lee is registered to vote right here. It's a highway bridge, essentially. So is he registered to live under the bridge?
I don't know. If you look it up in Google Maps, just type in the address. He puts the pin drop literally in the middle of that bridge.
Interesting.
I've driven through there before, and I didn't see Mr. Lee.
Now, maybe this is just a stupid question, but is this...
We were looking for Rico. Now we're looking for Mr. Lee. A bridge is your address? You know, I had a professor in law school. I tell a lot of stories if you're new here. I had a professor in law school and he'd be like, you know, if you guys don't want to listen to me or take this seriously, you could be a lawyer. You could go live under that bridge in Lawrence. Like, that's what he used to say. This is what that reminds me of. Oh my God, I got to email my professor and be like, man, somebody named Lee lives under a bridge in Fulton County.
Legal in Georgia to be registered to vote under a bridge and then be able to actually vote?
I'm not sure how he would get his precinct card. It seems...
You're telling me there's no mailbox here for them to drop off any information?
I haven't seen the mailbox.
No, we're laughing around, but actually this is a serious problem. This is a person that is literally right now on the voter registration list, potentially is able to vote, and this is the place where they're registered from. The usual question, you complained to the county about this, and what was their response?
I'm the bad guy.
You're the bad guy. And why are you the bad guy for pointing out something so ridiculous as that somebody potentially voting from a place like this?
You know, as far as I can tell, it just comes back to money. I mean, if you do not want to clean the voter rolls, if you do not want them right, there's only one logical conclusion.
Ask yourself at home, regardless of what you think about whether homeless people should be able to vote or whatever the case is, should you be able to be on a voter registration list and claim that this area right here is your primary residence? I don't see a house. And this goes against all Georgia laws. The most annoying thing about this is that I'm just a regular person. I can go and do this by myself, but elected officials can literally see this on public available records, see for themselves that this isn't a residential place, and do something about it, but they don't. And that is the most...
The fact that somebody can register to vote and their address is under a fucking bridge. I can't get over it. There's still more time on this video. There's another location they're going to. I don't know. Chat, this is fascinating. Let's go back in. Wow.
Frustrating part about this.
Room for rent.
It's Mr. Lee's house right here.
Rents out his extra room.
Yep.
The thing that we kind of talked about off camera was I wasn't aware that there's actual evidence that people who are registered to vote at places that obviously either don't exist or aren't there, or it's just illegal for them to be registered like that. Sure. They actually do end up voting. That's the case, correct?
Yes. Not everybody.
Yeah.
And for example, let's say I don't know the law and I registered a UPS store.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not doing it to break the law. I'm just unaware.
Yeah.
So then let's say I move to another county.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Fulton County may not get a flag that I moved because nobody actually moves from a UPS store.
Yeah.
Maybe they get a new UPS store, so they end up registered twice. And maybe if they're a shady character, they can easily vote in both counties.
Yeah.
Because they're registered in both counties, and myself and just a handful of other people are the only ones that would actually look at that to see that same person moved and voted twice.
You're probably wondering where we're at. We're actually at a MARTA bus station.
Oh
We
my
are hiring bus
God.
and rail operators.
Are you kidding me, chat? I can't do it. Not somebody registering to vote at the fucking bus station. I'm sorry to swear. I'm so frustrated. These people are always, give me your tax money now. You can't make this up. Shout out to The Godfather. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Wow.
CDL and CDL permit holders only, journeyman electronic technicians, rail car, and track maintainers.
And apparently there are people who are registered to vote directly from this location right here. It is 1401 Lee Street.
Wow.
Does this look like a place that people live here?
I haven't found any mailboxes. I don't see any beds. It doesn't look like it to me.
Doesn't look too comfy to sleep here. So Jason, explain to us, like with all the other places, people aren't legally able to register to vote from here, yet they ended up on our registration voter rolls. What is going on? What is the state going to do about this?
I'm not sure what the state's going to do about it. I turned in this address to Fulton County a couple of years ago. I turned it into the state a couple of years ago. And then recently I went back through and looked at every one of those that I had turned in and checked to see how many people are still registered to vote at those bad addresses today and how many votes have been cast at those bad addresses. And my understanding, based on Georgia law, is OCGA 21-2590 clearly says that is a felony to knowingly allow somebody to vote illegally. And that, in my opinion, is what's happening here.
I was going to ask you, that's in your opinion, right? That state officials knowingly know what's going on here, yet are continuously allowing people to be still on the voter list from here, right?
Right. I turned it in. They cannot say they didn't know about it.
And we literally have the physical paper that I'm holding in my hand right now of you turning in an official complaint to the county about this exact location.
Right.
And yet people are still registered to vote from here.
Yes.
Just to, I guess, end things for our first trip around Fulton County.
Sure.
If you did have that magic wand to do everything to completely fix the problem in the system, what would you do? Just one or two things?
I mean, you've got to clean up the voter rolls. They've got to be accurate. And let's be honest, when you have 17 days of early voting, that's a gap. When anybody can vote absentee, that's a gap. Mail-in ballots have a lot of risk. When you put it in your mailbox until it gets to the official, a lot of things can happen. One day voting, absentee only where absolutely necessary, and accurate voter rolls are key.
Perfect. Jason, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming around with me today.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, Jason. So
if you're just joining us in the debauchery, I need to take a super chat break because I was done at the Casper Lot. I was done at, the houses that were in the process of being renovated. I thought I was done at, the church I get. The closed down homeless shelter from 2017, that's one thing. But the goddamn bus station, the MARTA, who even thinks to do that? I'm going to register to vote. Let me use the bridge. Let me put down my address under the bridge. No, actually, I'm going to put my address as the bus station. And think about it. If a homeless person is at the bus station and they don't have ChatGPT, they don't have a phone, they don't have anything else, they're going to think about the address that they know. Maybe it's posted on a sign somewhere. I'm so disappointed. But the big thing about all of this, guys, is if it's happening in Fulton County, is it not happening? We have 50 states. Is it happening in other places? A bus station. Let me read some super chats, guys, and then we are going to go through the paper trail, and I am just going to pull some 11 Alive footage to see if there have been any recent press conferences holding this. I think there was one yesterday after the raid. The FBI came in with trucks and they were like, give us the ballots. Now we know why. These two videos that I'm showing you, they came out 11 days ago before the raid. So I think it's happening everywhere too, Cheyenne. I really do. All right, coming to the top. Shout out to A Doug, who became a member. I saw this before the stream started. Thank you so much, A Doug, for becoming a member. Let me do this now before I forget. Every month as a YouTuber, we're about to go into February. I get 10 memberships to distribute to you guys. And as a special gift to my members, for all of you guys participating, engaging in chat, even if you're just watching at home, I'm going to give out my 10 memberships for the month of January now. So those are now being distributed in the chat. If you're a member, here's the best part. I want my members to help me come up with the questions that we want for Ashley Merchant. So I will put a members only post up tonight. And for all of our new members, you guys will have the opportunity to help me craft my interview with Ashley Merchant and talk about what's happening in Fulton County. So I'm really, really excited to be able to do that. So Doug, thank you for becoming a member. You also just reminded me to distribute all of these out to chat today. Shout out to Miss, you misunderstood her. She changed her name again. It's Evolve. Thank you, sis. She sends me a 10. It says, have a great stream, AV. You too, sis. I did see you join my email list. Again, guys, I am creating a content creator group for women very soon. I really want to focus on, giving you guys some, feedback and creating like a space where women that are content creators can come and learn and grow and things of the like. So practitioner her, I appreciate you. That was her last name. That's what I'm used to calling you, but I can recognize that she changed her name. Shout out to Deonra with the 5. D says, so after 6 years, they thought everything was set and started self-snitching. Yeah. I'm going to actually pin this for those watching in the future. And I will put it in the comments after the stream ends. But, yesterday I reacted to what Fulton County people were saying immediately after the raid, what the commissioner was saying immediately after the raid. I'm going to show you Shay Alexander's documents soon, but, there was panic. But now I think we know why, right? So thank you, Dee. Shout out to Pekka with the 5, says the biggest election in history was stolen by our own government. If we went after everyone in on it, we'd be left with less than 30% of our officials. I mean, that's the thing. Like, This is like beyond parties at this point. People voting from bus stations. You know, somebody called, what is that show called on HGTV? Hometown. Somebody called Ben and his wife and have them come and rehabilitate homes. These are homes that they buy before they rehabilitate and sell. You know, it's so crazy. I can't believe this is going on. Shout out to D with the 2 says, I meant sweet, not set. Oh, what did you say here? So after 6 years, they thought everything was sweet and started self-snitching. Well, I appreciate the typo correction. Thank you, D. Shout out to Crying Free Man. Thank you with the 5. Says, Don Lemon stuff. Oh my God, the Don Lemon stuff. Cops won't even arrest you at church. Not even vampires mess with people at church. They don't. They don't. You know, but thank you so much, Crying Free Man. I appreciate you. Yeah, you got to keep the churches out of it. It's religion. It's a house of worship. This is where people go. Religious persecution. Isn't that why people left England to come here to create America in the first place? Shenanigans. But thank you so much, Crying Free Man. Jess with the 5 says, I miss y'all. AV, miss you, friend. Jess was new to our space during the Karen retrial, but is one of the fan favorites in the chat. Good to see you, Jess. And I am glad that we are streaming a little bit more often. It looks like we're going to have a lot to stream. I usually limit my streaming to trials, but with everything that's happening here with this Fulton County raid, I really do think that a lot more needs to be discussed about this more frequently than it is today. So thank you, Justin. It's good to see you. Amazing Disgrace hits me with the 5, says, since DNI is involved in not just the FBI, does that mean there's an increased likelihood there's international involvement? That's a great question. It did come up in some of the research I was doing earlier today where people were kind of looking at, oh, you know, back in the day, they were saying that Russia was involved in our elections. You guys remember that from news hearings, things like that? I can't remember which side it was coming from, but everybody was focused on Russia interfering with the elections, right? So the international influence. Now, in a way, if you think about what's happening with Venezuela, some of these voting machines came from Venezuela. So I think we're going to see what's going on because the leader, ex-leader of Venezuela, is in jail with Diddy. So we will learn more about that. But thank you, Amazing Disgrace. Great question. Jess hits me with a heart and a 10. Heart right back at you, sis. Great to have you back. And I'm happy to see everybody today. Shout out to CL Clearwater with the 5, says, +1 for Ashley Merchant. Keep up the great work, AV. Thank you so much. And again, I'm super grateful for all of you guys participating in, you know, the little challenge that we had earlier, the goal to make sure that we can get somebody on. And, you know, I'm networking so often outside of doing stuff for the channel because I want to bring great lawyers to you and have these deep dive discussions. And I just know the conversation with Ashley is going to be fire. Like I'm telling you right now, I know it's going to be fire. So you're going to want to stick around. And I appreciate everybody that was enthusiastic about bringing her on. Cheyenne with the 10 says, when you register, would it not be your residential address, not your PO box? That is correct. It should be your residential address, not your PO box. Cheyenne, I think you dropped this when we went to the UPS store. Okay, and I think I know where that UPS store is. That UPS store might be in Buckhead, which is one of the... Buckhead's an interesting neighborhood in Atlanta. On one hand, it is the richest neighborhood in Atlanta. That's why I chose it. I was like, I don't want any BS. But it's so crazy because when I lived there, I lived near a Target that had, I loved that Target. There was also a Home Depot. I swear to God, that Home Depot had so many workers outside looking for work every day from other countries. They really did. And this is no shot at anybody Hispanic, but they looked like Hispanic workers. And there was one day where, the Home Depot was next to a post office. So I would go to that post office sometimes because I had a PO box there. And then I ended up getting a virtual box. But I would always feel uncomfortable as a younger woman because one time people, like, because people will hire work. Like if you're a regular person and you just need something connected and you don't want to pay a contractor, maybe you'll grab one of the guys at Home Depot, right? Like, hey, for $50, can you do this? I'll hire you for this job. They were so down for work. They were so DTW, down to work, that there was a couple. It was a woman and a man, and I guess they had put down the window. And it was a Caucasian couple, but they were asking like, "Hey, would you guys be willing to I think it was like to connect a dishwasher or something? Do y'all have experience in that? Would you do it?" I swear to God, a swarm of men surrounded that car. The doors were locked, and they were all trying to open the door to get in just for that job. Just for that job. I was like, where do I live? This is Buckhead? What is this? Just for that job. They were so down to work. It was so crazy. So I don't know why I thought about that, Cheyenne, but that's what I do, chat. If you're new here, I do frequently tell you anecdotes and stories. But thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Shout out to Edwin again. Thank you, Edwin. No comment, no question, just love. Appreciate your super chat. And thank you for helping us reach our goal again. Jess also helped us get to our goal with the 10. Says, I don't know what's going on, but that's fine. Exactly. Edwin, a third time. Thank you, Edwin. This 20, same thing. Really wanted to help us get to the goal. Appreciate you. Almost done with super chats, guys. And we are going to the paper trail. So I have 2 complaints from the United States. Let me just put it over here and load it so y'all will be ready when we're done. After those videos really set me up. But yes, I do have the original complaints from December that we can look at. And please keep in mind, although the Donald Trump RICO case is technically over, Fulton County still owes him his attorney's fees, which was $6.9 million. And with the other defendants, the total is somewhere around 17. So I'm checking the docket every day on that matter as well, just to keep you guys up to speed. So thank you, Edwin. Ridge drops a 5, says it's unreal to see people defend absolute fraud like this. In 2026, keep it queen, AV. Keep it queen, AV. Nice to see you back in these YouTube streets. Yes, I've been here. And, I will be here, and I will be here more often. It's just when we focus on trials and a trial ends, we got to wait for a new one. So last week we were supposed to be doing the YNW Melly trial, but his charges got dropped. And honestly, I don't think there's another trial coming till April that we'd be interested in. And that's in Courtney Clenny land, right? She threw the knife at her Black boyfriend and he died. OnlyFans model made like $2 million a year, something crazy like that. But they fought all the time. And I've showed you guys that footage, and it's just tumultuous relationship. So I do think another pillar on my channel is just going to kind of be looking at some of this investigative stuff too, because it's pretty fascinating. And I do think more people need to know about it. So thank you, Ridge. We will be here. Shout out to Daryl with the 2, says, is this considered fraud? I mean, Daryl. And when you drop this, we probably didn't see all of it. But at this point, Daryl, I mean, yes. Yes, absolutely, Daryl. This has to be fraud. Ain't no way. It's so crazy. But good to see you, brother. And thank you so much for the super chat. Crying Free Man dropped another 5, says 3. I opened my mail from the last tenant and chick owes $9K in veteran. I polled you guys earlier to see if you have received mail in the last month, and if it came from a prior tenant or whoever owned your house before you. And most of you answered 1s. 2, if you hadn't received it. I think Nurse Janice was the only one because maybe they run their mail cleaner the system in the UK. And then I said, okay, F it for 3. If you actually open that mail, one of you guys suggested it. If you've actually opened that mail, and Crying Free Man says yes. And apparently that last tenant owns $9,000 in back rent. How long does she not pay? That is interesting, but thank you. Amazing Disgrace with the 5 says you deserve to reach your goals. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do. Stanton with the 5 Says, be careful. You might eliminate cheating. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. I've been very careful about not going too political on my channel. But, at this point, after watching those videos, I don't even think this matters as far as parties. The fact that nobody's talking about this, or they are, but it's just muted. In the news, you hear a different narrative. And that's why independent media going into 2026 is so important. Like, you guys told me about that video. I didn't even know this was happening to this level. Shout out to Camilla. And before I go in, Camilla sent me a $50 Cash App. Cam, thank you. She is one of the OGs on my channel, has been around for years. And I know the granddaughter is watching, so thank you. And she drops a 5 and says, this is fascinating. She did send me a $50 Cash App as well. Thank you so much. For those that prefer a Cash App or a Venmo, all the ways that you can support the channel are down below. And here's the thing, when you guys support the channel, you're really not only helping me. I know I'm the face of the channel, but there are so many people that are helping on the back end. I have an editor. He's fantastic. He helps me get everything out to you guys as fast as possible. He designs all the thumbnails that we're working on. I do want to hire an ops manager at one point, but when the business is ready, we can do that. I have a YouTube manager, a brand partner. Like, there's a team. So when you send a super chat, you really don't know that it is going such a long way. So thank you so much, Camilla. Michael Love popped in with the 5, says, just a quick stop by to get us ready for the jury season. Sorry, I can't stay long today. No problem. And while Michael Love was here, he gifted you guys 20 memberships. Thank you, Michael. And I saw all the people saying thank you. Super, super nice. Crying Freeman pops in again and says, anyone think we're only hearing about this to distract us from Epstein? Well, Crying Freeman. Great observation there. This morning, additional millions of documents related to Epstein have been released. YouTube is one of the only platforms where you could talk about this freely. Apparently, TikTok is masking creators from being able to use the word Epstein on TikTok and talk about it. I don't know if that's because TikTok skews a little bit younger. YouTube actually does kind of attract more of an older audience. I think a lot of us are around the same age, or you're a little bit older, but we do enjoy communing and having conversations, kind of like what we're doing right now. People that want to listen to podcasts, even if you're listening to this in the future, YouTube does skew older. Instagram is so fast where everything is a reel, it's quick, but YouTube is the dominant platform. But for some reason, I did hear that TikTok is banning creators from speaking up on Epstein. Now, there's some Epstein issues, right? Congress has been going back and forth about these files for months, and they're slowly coming out in droves and releases. But even when they release it, you've got millions of files. Everybody's going to have to comb through that slowly, right? So interesting stuff. He says, by the way, everyone thinks the Bush-Gore election was rigged too. Well, Gore definitely did. He took it to trial. I think that's in one of my case books back here. The Gore case, it might be in my constitutional law book there. That was actually one of the first cases we learned about in constitutional law. Was going through that case, and people were saying it did include accusations of it being rigged, right? So if you think about that, that was 2000. Wow. Then you had 2004, right? Then you had 2008. We got Obama. Then he did a second term. Then you had 2016, and we got Trump. 2020, we got Biden, and then 2024. We have Trump again, right? So this is interesting to talk about if you really think about the last 2 decades in this country of, issues with the elections, right? But I think 2020 was very unique because of this mail-in situation, very, very unique to that. Now, what I also will say, Crying Freeman, is, damn, I lost my thought. Where did it go? I hate when that happens. Oh, this is a valid point. when we watched that press conference yesterday or the night before, the night of the raid, they were like, oh, this is to distract from the ICE Minnesota thing. I was like, come on. Is it? But now that I've watched these two videos, is it? So, I wish that some of our politicians would be careful with what they say, because it's like, is this related to what's happening in Minnesota? What's happening in Minnesota is what's happening in Minnesota. We are in Fulton County right now. We're listening to you talk about what's happening in Fulton County. You're telling us it's clean. You stand by that, then stand by it. But when we see what we just saw, and it's illegal to let this stuff slide, I mean, we need to have a different conversation. So thank you so much, Crying Freeman. Chris with the 5. Hi, Chris. Chris says, hey, good to see you again from Leeds channel. I subbed today. Welcome, Chris. Why don't Dems ever like audits of elections, Ukraine, or any funding? Well, audits of elections, I mean, I don't know. Maybe because what we just saw would transpire and unfold. Ukraine, I don't know. The Ukrainian thing has been going on for so long at this point. Years. The Ukrainian issue has been going on for because I think it dates back to around that 2020 time. That was the time that it started. And we still don't have any, clear paths to resolution yet, I believe. Don't quote me on it because I haven't been keeping up on it, but interesting. Any funding? No, they like funding. Not even they. Funding for swag and other things that you can use. People like funding. But thank you, Chris, and welcome. Jess with the 2 says, those kids in college. Yeah, one of you guys are like, oh, those homes over there are like boarding houses for off-campus boarding houses. We didn't even know. I didn't know that. That was great information. But thank you, Jess, again. Kamala with the 20. No comment, no question, pure love. Thank you, Kim. I really appreciate it. She is your stream sponsor. And right after that, she gifted 10 memberships. I did catch the names of these. Sexy Brown got 1. Ray B got 1. Lady Ace got 1. Jamil, Miss Hillary, Diane, Miss B, DeBlunt, down south. And I think Kim received 1. If you received a membership from Kamala, please say thank you. All right, I'm going to hit a quick pause on Super Chats for right now so we can get back to the content. And then we will go from there. So what I have for you next is this. So I wanted to really lead us into how we got to this raid, right? And I did come across this document, and this is the United States of America. This is a complaint that was filed against Shay Alexander. She is a clerk of courts for Fulton County. And as mentioned, I recognize her name because you see this blue font on the top. Usually when I show you guys legal documents, at least in Fulton County, they format it a little differently, and it shows up on the right-hand side of documents. So I recognize that they would have the case name, they would have the document name, they would tell you when it was filed, and they would also tell you page 1 of 8 or whatever page you're looking at, but they would also say Shay Alexander as far as the clerk, that it was filed with the clerk's office. So that's why I recognize her name. Now, here's what the complaint says. It says Title III of the Civil Rights Act imposes a sweeping obligation on election officials. We cite some case law here, and the purpose is to retain and preserve all records and papers which come into their possession relating to any application, registration, payment of poll tax, or any records related to an election, right? So that's a federal law. Title III likewise grants an attorney general the sweeping power to obtain these records. So you see what we're putting down here, Chad. It sounds like the attorney general wanted copies of those records because they lay down the law first before they get into what the request is. So, it also says any record or paper required to be retained shall be preserved, and upon demand in writing by the Attorney General, represented, directed to the person having custody, possession, or control, be made available for inspection reproduction, and copying at the principal office of such custodian by the Attorney General. The written demand shall contain a statement of the basis and the purpose therefore. This was filed on December 11th of 2025. Right, so more than a month ago. Okay, let's keep going here. If the custodian to whom the written record demand is made refuses to comply, then they require a special statutory proceeding in which the courts play a limited role in assisting the Attorney General's investigative powers. The Attorney General or her representative may request a federal court to issue an order directing the custodian to produce the demanded records akin to a traditional order to show cause or to produce in aid of an order of an administrative agency. And that's actually what happened here. That's why I wanted to go back to these original documents, right? Because this Attorney General requested the federal court to issue an order. Now, while they didn't get an order, they did receive a search warrant. And what a lot of people have been getting confused about, at least legally throughout the week, is, a search warrant is highly involved in criminal cases and not a civil case. Here, I do believe that this initially was a civil complaint, right? So the difference between civil and criminal is we have now escalated the issue of these ballots to a criminal matter. Remember with Diddy? They broke in the house, they got all of that baby oil. It's because they received a search warrant. When did that happen? It was somewhere around May, I think. And Diddy was ultimately indicted and arrested, I think, in September. I just did a whole series on The Reckoning on Netflix if anybody's interested. But if you think about that in the investigation, that was June, July, August, September, 4 months after Diddy's raid happened. Take that. But interesting that we are seeing some movement with an executed search warrant, but you see that it was initially filed in mid-December. So they wanted to inspect these ballots back then. In summary, this proceeding, they're citing some case law, I always skip that. The Attorney General need only show that she made a written demand for the records and that the person against whom an order for production is sought has failed or refused to make such papers available for inspection, reproduction, and copying. The court does not adjudicate the factual foundation for or the sufficiency of the Attorney General's statement of the basis and the purpose contained in the written demand, or the scope of the order to produce. So jurisdiction and venue is proper, so I'm going to skip all that. The parties are the Attorney General of the United States. Wow, so they really wanted to see this. The Attorney General has the authority to enforce various federal election statutes. Okay. National Voter Registration Act and Title III of Help America Vote Act. That's what gives the authority. The defendant, Shay Alexander, is sued in her official capacity as a person having custody or possession of control of such record or paper. So Shay Alexander is the custodian of the ballots in the state of Georgia. She serves as the Fulton County Clerk of Courts. All right, background. This proceeding arises from the Attorney General's investigation into Fulton County's compliance with federal election law, particularly the NVRA and the HAVA. Both these laws require election officials to maintain and preserve certain records and papers that fall within the scope of those laws. So the CRA is the Civil Rights Act. What do they say here? Preserve the records, blah, 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 of any federal office for a period of 22 months after any federal, general, special, or primary election. So 22 months, they have to keep it. Yeah, it's just kind of going through all of those. Let's go to facts. It says on July, the State Election Board of Georgia passed a resolution calling upon assistance of the Attorney General to effect compliance with voting transparency. All right. A few months later, on October 30th, the Attorney General sent a demand letter to the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections demanding all records in your possession responsive to the recent subpoena issued by your office by the State Election Board. Uh-oh. So this is actually dating back longer than we thought it was. This filing is from December, but it looks like on October they wanted the files. And it's likely that they didn't receive them. The subpoena dated October 6th requested all used and void ballots, stubs of ballots, signature envelopes, and corresponding envelopes, digital files from the 2020 election in Fulton County. October 30th letter requested these records pursuant to the Attorney General's authority. So, okay. So there was a subpoena from Georgia to Shay Alexander's office on October 6th. Right? When there was no compliance, then it escalated to October 30th, where that came from the Attorney General because they weren't handing them over to Georgia, it sounds like. The October 30th letter identified the purpose of this request in ascertaining Georgia's compliance with federal election laws. The Attorney General also seeks to assist the State Election Board in their transparency efforts under Georgia law. The letter cited transparency concerns as a basis for the request, and the letter cited a November 7th, 2024 letter from the State Board to the Fulton County Board asserting unexplained anomalies that we just all watched in vote tabulation and storage related to the 2020 election. On November 14th, the Fulton Board sent a response letter, and in that letter, they replied that the physical ballot stubs and absentee ballots envelopes for the election remained in the Fulton County Superior Court clerk's possession under seal. This is what they were talking about in that press conference yesterday, that everything was under seal. Why was it sealed? The letter further cited and attached a letter for the Fulton County clerk to the state board dated October 21st. In that letter, the Fulton County clerk stated that the records sought are under seal and may not be produced absent a court order. So I think that is Shay basically saying, hey, y'all want this? Fine, but you need to know that these records are under seal, and unless you have a court order, I can't hand them over to you. On November 21st, the Attorney General sent a letter to the Fulton County clerk again, requesting the documents on the same grounds. That letter restated the request under the same authorities. If the Attorney General has to send it to you twice. Interesting. The letter on October 30th and November 14th were attached for reference. As of the filing of this complaint, the clerk has failed to respond to the Attorney General. What are we doing here? Like, why does Fulton County do this? At first, it's like, oh, we need a court order. Okay, I'm the Attorney General. I'm not going to give you a court order, but I'm going to restate why I need this. Again, it's federal law. December 11th is when this was filed. They received that letter on November 14th. They didn't even respond to this. Like, oh, this is just so bad. Oh, this is so bad. Then they go into the counts. Violation of the Civil Rights Act. And then they sign it. The Department of Justice sent that, guys. It just gets worse and worse. As I dig into this, it just gets worse and worse. I didn't expect it. Oh, this is the second copy of the complaint. All right. So, chat, that is what I have for you. we have been on a wild ride with this. Let me read some more super chats and then we will get out of here for the day. I am going to get to work and get started with Ashley Merchant, see what her schedule looks like next week so I can bring her on and talk about this. We do have some videos for you guys coming all weekend on this topic. I'm watching everything. We're going to stay on top of it. But we're going to go from there. Let me see where I left off. I think I got Cam. She gifted her membership. Shout out to Pure Blood, who became a member. Welcome, Pure Blood. I gifted you guys 10 memberships. Members, if you're still here and listening or watching this on replay, I'm going to put up a post where you can help me craft some questions for Ashley Merchant. So that way y'all are helping me in real time. Chris with the 5 says, can Rudy Giuliani get his money back? To think judges said that they had no standing for cases in 2020 and 2021. Scared what will happen if a fraud is found. Yes. So as we are thinking about attorney's fees for the RICO case, I think all defendants but 2 have already put their bid to get their attorney's fees returned. So I don't know if Rudy's on that list. I think he is. But as far as I know, Ashley's client, and I can ask her about that next week when she comes, Michael Roman, didn't feel like he did anything wrong. So, she's like, I'm fighting it to tooth and nail. So attorney's fees, we're not going to ask for it. And there was another woman that was in the indictment who decided not to ask for her attorney's fees back. But thank you so much, Chris. And again, welcome back or welcome. The actual King Smith with the 5 says, listening while I head to the Lakers Wizards game. Good on you for branching out and doing your own thing. Thank you so much, the actual King Smith. I appreciate it. And I hope you have fun at the game. Enjoy yourself. Games are always a great time. I think the last basketball game I went to is when I went to the Atlanta Hawks versus the Celtics game because I'm from Boston, but I lived in Atlanta and I wore a Celtics jersey. People hated me. They were so mad. I was like, go JB, go. I really wanted the Celtics to win, but we are getting ready for the Super Bowl up here for the Pats. We might have another stream shortly soon, guys, on an arraignment with Stephon Diggs. I hope not. We'll see what happens. The whole thing with the chef, I'm also monitoring that legal matter as well. So I'll keep you guys up to speed on that one. But yes, I have been branching out, doing my own thing. Y'all come check me out here on the AV to the 7th Power channel. Much respect to where I started out. Shout out to Lead. I hope he's doing great. But yeah, this morning I did drop a video basically giving you like my background on why I decided to do YouTube full time. And I love it. I enjoy it. It's fun. It is fun. But thank you so much, King Smith. Jess with the 5 says AV's merch is the softest, most comfortable buy. I'm not sponsored, just saying yes. So we have some new stuff on the merch store. I think I added Objection 403, Law, True Crime, Debauchery. Oh, you know what I put up there? Nobody knows about it. Deanna is the only one that bought it. You know the blue cap that I always wear when people are capping in court? I don't have mine yet because I ordered it. But I put a blue cap on our merch store and it says, Your Honor, that's cap.
Stop the cap.
So I'm really excited about that. If anybody is interested in ball caps, things of the like, you want to rock some channel merch, I'll probably link that in the comments below. That really wrecked my hair. But thank you, Jess. Shout out to King with the 5 says 3P2. I also opened her unemployment. Apparently she got fired. Interesting. Because she was getting unemployment, but unemployment, it ran out and she owes them. Oh my God, you're talking about the tenant, King, or Crying Freeman. Oh my God. So the tenant that lived in your apartment before you owes $9,000 in back rent and you open her unemployment letter. Y'all are funny. Y'all are hilarious. Thank you so much. And then lastly, I got a 10 from Kamala who says, you have a great team, AV. No, I mean, you guys are my team too. We are doing all of this together. And that's what makes great streams. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here and get back to this business. I really want to shout all of you guys out that hit me up, supported the stream. Kamala, again, your stream sponsor. Cash App, for anybody that sends me Cash Apps, those do go a long way. Like those are things that are instant and I'm able to do stuff with that and do what we can with the channel. So when you send Cash Apps, I really appreciate those too. I did get one from Ed. Thank you, Ed. He says, post your Cash App on your lives to full funds. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. You know, what you see on YouTube, these super chats are fun. They're great. And it's a great way for engagement. But, you know, YouTube does like, you know, send them later, like in the future, right? Whereas something like this is more instant and I'm able to do more as a business owner faster. So I appreciate that. And thank you, Ed, for the suggestion. And again, Camilla, thank you again for the $50 Cash App there. All right, folks, just looking at my email. The other thing, everybody that is interested in the Julio Fulio case, I do have a Fox News spot. It was supposed to be today. We just rescheduled it for Monday. So if you're looking for an update for me, I did a live stream here on this channel on where we are. I'm monitoring that docket every single morning. So we will see what happens with Alicia Andrews' sentencing. Again, I'm in touch with Julio Fulio's mom. So I do want to bring her on the channel too after sentencing. And you guys have expressed interest and the attorneys on the defense team as well. So I will be reaching out to them. Never a dull day. It's very busy on Team AV7, just saying. But I appreciate all of you guys. Have a wonderful night. If you have not seen my election video yesterday, please check it out and I will link it over here. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.